that is YSL a gang, and he said yes, ma'am. The thing is
You're
that
the
ultimately
mix
this is how this shit is
with
gonna go.
MBM
While
Sessions.
we would love for these guys to work together, and I mean, of course, we thought that that was gonna happen with, you know, the closing statements in Thug's trial, or the closing statements on his situation. His lawyer Brian Steele asked, could Thug you know, work with Gunna again? And we thought that, oh man, his light at the end of the tunnel. But unfortunately, we ain't never gonna see that shit, man. Thug and them is never gonna be cool with Gunna. Baby and them, I don't think it's ever gonna be cool with Gunna. Future and them is never gonna be cool with Gunna. And honestly, that's okay. I'm here to tell y'all that's okay. And the reason being is that, you know, regardless to how the situation shakes out, people still gonna have their, you know, rules or codes that they abide by and live by. And yes, there's definitely goalposts moving in a lot of different situations. And I'm not speaking specifically for anybody from Atlanta. I'm from New York. I am just a spectator and commentator in this situation. I don't personally know none of these niggas, nor have I committed or wanted to commit any crimes with them. But people move the goalposts in life. It ain't just music, in life, for all types of situations. On one hand, they make it acceptable for this person, but on the other hand, they don't. And I think that that's all due to personal preference, right? That shit is all due to personal preference. It's not about like music or none of that. But let's read this other tweet from Steve Shadow, and it says, love the street rules and the dry snitched comments. Oh, the fake outrage. Same old shit. Both were charged with RICO. Both faced 20 years in prison. Both pled to RICO. Regardless, I'm more than willing to accept the blame for the great deal. So,
Damn.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Gunna didn't, you know, ask or need him to speak. Does this help Gunna in any way with him saying all of this?
No.
No. Like that, yo, one thing about the law
I wouldn't
is, and I
even
just learned
responded
this,
to that.
like, I'm not gonna say I just learned this, but people read, of course, these indictments, they read these paperworks. It's such a big market for it. I'm not touching none of that shit, you know what I mean, when it comes to criminal cases and all that. Salute to everybody who that's the type of content they create.
HoneyBook completely changed how I do business. I'm a photographer and independent business.
But people, they read these legal documents and they understand or like, I've never seen so many people like just get paperwork and then become lawyers themselves. Like, a lot of people don't even know what half the shit they reading is, but that's okay too, because nothing makes a person feel more right like them not being in that situation. Listen, I'm not going to I can't tell you, I'm not in that situation. I've never been in that situation. I'm not going to be in that situation. I'm not going to put myself in that situation. But, you know, I think Gunna's going to be just fine. I think that the internet fight back that's happening is due to Gunna. Not only did, you know, he get away or technically beat his case, but he's been beating the shit out of Perception, and we all know that Perception is whooping Reality's ass out here. But he's been
Yeah.
beating the shit out of Perception, and the perception of him, and is he good enough? I mean, the past 2 years of him being home, or years, yeah, it's been 2 years since he's been home. He's definitely defied the odds when it comes to selling records. You know what I mean? Making hit records. Gunna is the only male artist, male rapper within the past 4 years, I think the report was, that has a song that's done 1 billion streams that's by himself. And it's a very, very small class of people who have done that. But you know,
Yes,
he's been
man.
doing
I
it
don't
more with
think
music. And I
Gunna
asked the
need
question
Baby or
to the
Thug
chat, to the
anymore.
people in the comments,
Like, let's be real
what
about
does it
that.
mean to you? Now, of course, you got people that's going to stand on their street morals and ethics or codes or whatever. And he should have never said that YSL was a gang, but they gonna need to say it for it to be confirmed. I mean, like, I think that like them even putting that into the ask of what he was agreeing to in his plea was just there to embarrass him. Like let's be for real. It's just really there to
Right,
embarrass him.
right.
There's tons of people who went to that trial who have admitted to shootings, robberies, assaults, all types of stuff. There was nothing that made anybody second guess what YSL was. And I think that
Facts.
like the hip hop community, of course, we will always like to, because people think that they smarter than the police, that they smarter than law enforcement. Two things I've never seen go out of business is a motherfucking Chinese restaurant and a police precinct. That's a whole nother conversation to have. But I think that like so many people think that like they can basically beat law enforcement's work, or in a situation like that, like exclude Gunna's testimony in that case. There's other people who are, staying in jail due to their crimes throughout the YSL, RICO case. And again, there's piles of evidence and piles of, things that were able to stick for others and not to Thug or not to Gunna because they could afford to pay for high-powered attorneys.